In this video, I'm going to show you how to use your cell phone to operate your DCC++ through JMRI. I'm Tom Kovichak, and this is Tom's Trains and Things. This channel was created to help other modelers who are in need of guidance in pursuing their dream of building a model railroad. About a week ago, I had a comment from a viewer asking me about a cell phone throttle with DCC++, and I referred them back to a video that I did, but when I went and looked at that video, I realized that I was using the PR3 to connect everything together. With the DCC++, you don't need the PR3 as an interface for your computer. So I'm going to hook this old router up to it so I could transmit, so we could use this cell phone and engine driver to operate our locomotive through DCC++ with this Uno and the motor shield on here. If you need a refresher on how to hook up your DCC with JMRI, you could always go back to my last video on the subject, which I will have in the description. So let's see how this all works. I used this router before in an old video, and I showed you how to hook it up with the PR3, but I'm going to hook it up right now to the computer. I'm going to use the Ethernet cable here and hook it up to my network card on my computer because I don't have Wi-Fi capability on this one. This one's about 8 years old. But if you have a newer computer that you are able to have Wi-Fi on it, you will not need to hook up this. Now, this is optional. You can use your home network, but I choose to use a separate one for the railroad. You want to go over to your network and make sure it's set to home network and not public network. If you put it on a public network for some reason, it will not work. So you have to have it on home network if you're using Windows. We're going to use my tablet on this demonstration, so I'm going to show you what it looks like on there. You can see on here it has Rail Connect, and that is the network that we're going to use on there. To get your router going, you don't want to use this one here that says Internet. You could use any one of the 4 or how many plugs it has in there and just connect it to right there to get your router going on your computer if you don't have Wi-Fi on your computer. So this is all set to go. Next thing we want to do is make sure we have our Arduino Uno hooked up, and make sure that you have your USB cable hooked into it like that right there. Now all we have to do is check in our device manager, and I have the device manager already open, and you can see ports COM and LPT, and you can see Arduino Uno on COM port 10 on this one here. So we're all set. It's hooked up and we're ready to go, and now all we have to do now is hook up our track. I have 2 sets of tracks here. This is the program track over here, and this is our running track. I have just a short piece of flex track here for this demonstration. It's only about less than 2 feet long. Here's my tablet that I'm going to use. Here's the DCC++ right here, and I have all my wires connected. This is to my power supply. I have it set at 12 volt. This one here is the running track, and this side here is the program track. Now all we have to do is set up JMRI to get this thing running. I'm going to show you. I have on here engine driver, and I already have everything set up on here. You have to have your IP address on there, and usually it's the same no matter what computer you hook it up to. The IP address as shown here on your Withrottle is the same one that you want on your cell phone or tablet. All you have to do is enter this data right here, and it will be saved on your engine driver application. We're going to set up Panel Pro so we could use the Withrottle on here. I have DCC PP, and we're going to use that configuration to start out with. And what we want to do is go into the preferences and move this over to the center a little bit. We went to defaults. And what we want to make sure that all these radio buttons are clicked on the DCC++. Now we're going to go down to startup, and we want to start this up with a few options here. We're going to perform actions. First thing we want to do is start Withrottle Server. I want to do that one. And for some reason it always comes up twice, so we'll remove one of those. And then we want to start the web server too. Start web server. Once you click on that, then you hit the save button, and you'll come up with the prompt here. You'll want to restart, and you'll be set. It'll restart automatically, and you'll be good to go. We'll have to restart it. Go back there. We'll drag this down here. And this is our Withrottle. And for right now, it's off. So what we want to do, there's our Panel Pro. And as you can see on here, it says 192.168.1.100 colon 12090. So let's go over to here, and we'll take a look over here to engine driver. And on engine driver, it's very small right there, but you can barely see it, but it has the IP address over there, and on this side it has the port number, so we're going to click on that. And you can see that it opened up, and you have this all grayed out until you select a locomotive. Now I have a few locomotives already selected on there, and this one here is the S2, and we'll click on that, and the horn is on. Okay, so we'll put this on forward. We'll put heading, and that's the light right here. And we'll just give us a little bit of and go backwards. Oops. Now this one doesn't have a lot of options on it. You can see it just has the bell and the horns and the headlights on it. But you get the idea. That's all it takes to set up your tablet or your cell phone for running JMRI. And we'll come over here. Let me see, back onto this one on the display. And it shows up right here that I have it hooked up as Tom's Tab Pro. That's my tablet, and it shows the locomotive on there. Now you could have, as on this version that I have, I don't know, I could probably update it, but I've read that you could have up to 6. This one only gives me the option of putting 3 locomotives on here. But that's all there is to it. You have your throttle, your Withrottle right here. You could shut it off, turn it back on, and then once you turn it back on, you still see we're still connected right there. I'll bring you down to this other camera. We'll just come over, we'll put the bell on, go forward. Oops. Gonna change direction. There we go. And I like doing it on my tablet because it's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bulky, but I could see it a little bit better than trying to do it on this right here. Also on this throttle, you can see in the preferences that the two top items on there are turnouts and routes. So you could also operate your turnouts. Now I don't have anything set up on JMRI, but there would be a list of turnouts on here if I did. So go into your preferences by clicking the three dots and choosing preferences, and you have many choices on here that you could change on your display. You can see there's quite a bit of options on here that you could play around with. In our next video on DCC and JMRI, we're going to be hooking it up to a Raspberry Pi. So we're going to eliminate the computer, we're going to eliminate the router because it has a built-in Wi-Fi on this. So that's going to make it easy for us to operate on our layout with just this sized computer right here. You could hook up a keyboard, you could hook up a mouse, you could hook up a monitor, you could hook up your speakers on here. Everything you can on a computer you could hook up on here and run your JMRI and DCC on here. And we'll go over that in the next video. So until then, we'll see you. Oh yeah, and don't forget, ding that bell so you could be notified whenever there's a new video coming out. In our next video on JMRI and DCC, we're going to be hooking... Okay, I had it upside down. In our next video... Okay.